Good morning, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Reverend Kiya Heartwood. So happy to see you all this morning for our Pride Sunday. We're singing 131, which is Love Will Guide Us, and we're going to swing it a little bit. So just check out how we're doing it and see if you like it or not. Love will guide us, peace has got us, open side us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through our life. Got it? And we cannot sing like angels if you cannot speak for thousands. You can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your tongue. Love will guide us, Jesus guide us, opens us, we'll lead the way on the road from green to green. Love will guide us through the night. Good job.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Darby, my pronouns are she, her, and I am serving as your worship assistant today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means that we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome you from wherever you are on life's journey. You are welcome here. Do you have any announcements?
We have a virtual service on the 26th. Next week is our Father's Day service, and Matt and John Ivy and Joe Daigle are talking about what being a father means to them, and hope that you'll come for that. But the next week, so 2 weeks from today, it's a virtual service. We're watching the service from General Assembly. So the service will start later, and it will only be online. So don't come here, nobody will be here. Except Melissa, who's at the front desk. She might be here. Our responsive reading this morning is number 568. And Darby and I are going to do it for you. I obviously can't count this morning. There we go. This comes from Marge Piercy. It's called Connections Are Made Slowly, the Seven of Pentacles. So I'll read the first part. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground.
You cannot tell always by looking what is happening.
More than half a tree is spread out in the soil under your feet.
Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows through the heart.
Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree.
Spread like a squash plant that overruns the garden.
Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar.
Weave real connections. Create real nodes. Build real houses.
Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving.
Keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in, a thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and lairs.
Live as if you like yourself, and it may happen.
Reach out, keep reaching out, keep bringing in.
This is how we are going to live for a long time, not always.
For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes.
Marge Pearson.
Please say our chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now all please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We're going to sing number 299, Make Channels for the Streams of Love.
What key did we decide?
Yeah.
Did we decide C?
Yeah.
See.
I didn't have a pencil.
You all give a hand to Ken for helping us out with the music. He's very diligent on it, and we really appreciate all of his efforts. Make channels for the streams of love where they can broadly run, and love has overflowing streams to fill them everyone. But if at any time we see such channels to provide the very fountains of love for us will soon be parched and dry. For we must share and be with deepest in all worlds above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. I'm so happy to see all of you. Today, for our Time for All Ages, we have a very special story. And the reason it's special is for two reasons. The first, our former DRE, Director of Religious Education, Vicki Carter, this was one of her favorite books. So this is a shout out to her this morning. And secondly, this is the first kids book that was written, illustrated, everything by trans men. So it's pretty cool. And it's set in Texas too. All right, so today we're reading Stacy's Not a Girl by Colt Kale Meyer, illustrated by Jesse Yang, and designed by Nine Matt. My name is Stacy, and if you can't see the pictures, feel free to come this way if you are older or younger. It's totally fine. My name is Stacy. I live in a small town in Texas. From the day I was born, I've been told that I'm a girl, but I'm not too sure about that. I mostly like to play with boys. My favorite colors are blue, red, and green. When I was little, and my parents tried to put barrettes in my hair or make me wear dresses, I would jump up and down and say, "No way." For Halloween, I have been Peter Pan. That's my mom. She's dressed as Wendy. A football player, a wizard, a leprechaun, and a mermaid. Because I have short hair, most people think that I'm a boy. They say, "How may I help you, sir?" And some even tell my parents, "Your son is very handsome." I just smile. But to be honest, I'm not too sure that I'm a boy either. My mom knew that the kindergarten uniform was not going to work for me. It was a jumper. "We have a dilemma," she said. So Mom went to talk to the principal and they came up with a plan. Overalls. More functional, I think. One day when I was talking with the priest at my school, I asked, "Can I be a priest when I grow up?" And you can see Stacy's thinking about older me. He said, "Yes, but you will have to go to another church because ours doesn't allow girls to be priests." I felt sad and left out. I talked to my parents about what the priest told me and how I don't feel like I'm a girl. "You can be a girl and like boy things, like a tomboy," Mom said. "Duh, Mom, I know that already," I said. Dad asked, "Stacy, do you think you're a boy?" I looked down. I don't know. I just know I'm not a girl. "Stacy, you are our child. We love you very much, and we will always love you no matter what," my parents told me. They also told me that they did not understand and were worried about me. So they went to find people who did understand, who could help them. We went to a conference where there were a lot of families with kids like me, but they all seemed to know that they were either boys or girls. I just know that I'm not a girl, but I'm not so sure that I'm a boy. Where do I fit in, I wondered. At the conference, my parents met a doctor who works with kids like me and decided to take me to meet her. The doctor said, "Gender is how you feel or see yourself, like a boy or a girl, but many people don't feel like they fit into one gender." It felt so good to hear I was not alone. She taught us about all different kinds of gender possibilities. Gender smoothies, which is a mixture of boy and girl. Gender Priuses, which is half boy, half girl. Gender Minotaurs, one gender on the top and one on the bottom. Or a gender Tootsie Roll Pop, which is one gender on the outside and another gender on the inside. And more. She told me that however I feel is good is right for me, and that I was the only one who knew how I felt inside. I learned that I might feel this way for a short time, or maybe forever. And I also learned that not knowing is okay too. I feel okay about my body now, but I really do not want to get boobs when I get older. I do not like it when people think I am a girl and call me she, I told the doctor. The doctor smiled at me and said, "There are many kids who feel just like you. There's medication that you might take when you're older to make sure that you don't grow boobs." She helped my parents understand more and calmed their worries. She helped them make peace with my not knowing. My dad still has trouble remembering not to call me his darling angel baby girl anymore. "Dad," I said, "I can still be your darling angel baby, just not your girl." Some of my old friends' parents will not let them be my friends anymore. I have missed out on a few birthday parties and sleepovers too. That's been a real bummer. My mom says that a lot of people are scared of things they don't know about or that are different from them. She told me when people are scared, they make choices out of fear and not out of understanding. If they understood, they might make a different choice. Until then, we will just keep keep learning who our true friends are. I'm glad that my best friend Josefina always stands up for me and stays by my side. Whenever bullies at school tell me I'm weird, she jumps right in and says, "Stop saying that. Stacy is my friend, and that was not nice." I know I can always talk to Josefina and my parents when times get tough. You know what? I might not be either a boy or a girl, and that's okay. Right now, I'm just going to be a kid. The end. And if you'd like to come outside with me to RE, follow me as we sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
There we are. A short walk.
A short walk. This is a point in our service where we take a moment to reflect on our joys and our concerns and share them in our community. So what, if you would like to, you can come up and light one of our suspect electric candles and talk on the mic right over there. If you have a joy or concern that you want to share. I want to let you know that this is the anniversary of the massacre at the Pulse nightclub. That's why I'm wearing black today. 43 people were killed and 50, I forget exactly how many people were injured. 49 people killed and 53 people more wounded by Omar Mateen, who was a 29-year-old Muslim man from Syria. And the rumors are that he was questioning his own sexuality, that he may have been struggling with his own internal homophobia, as well as having a couple of AR-15s. So we want to remember those people and keep them in mind today. They were almost all Latina, and they were almost all in their 20s.
I think I just want to share the joy on this day that I was raised by people that, I don't know, gave me a very open mind as far as sexuality and as far as accepting people. Very grateful for that. And I see everyone's choice as, and how we're born as the earth protecting itself. Is how I have viewed it over the years, is that the earth is making these, these choices and decisions so that we can persist and that we can make it.
Well, I don't think this is a good This month is also Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and purple is their color as well. And many of you know my husband is in Hudson Creek Alzheimer's Special Care Facility. Most of the time he seems to be doing well, but he's having a terrible time with controlling his anger. And they've even called police in to calm him down. So please keep him in your prayers. Please send loving energy to him.
I just want to say that yesterday morning, Joyce Langmaker joined me for a walk around the property construction site on 29th Street. And they keep making progress over there. The framing is tightening in. So it's neat to go there, go by and see. I'm trying to stay away when the workers are there and stuff. But if you have any questions, you can always contact me, and I'll be glad to find answers or tell you what I know.
Anybody else?
We'll let one for all unspoken joys and concerns. We're holding it all in our hearts.
Our reading this morning comes from Susan Cottrell from the Free Hearts Organization. Shall I tell you the secret of the gay agenda? It is to be loved and accepted as is, just like anyone else, without having to change or be changed. Susan Cottrell.
So today's conversation is going to be more of a conversation because I think most of you all know that the reason why Pride happens often in June is because of the Stonewall riots in 1969 that happened in June. If you're not familiar with it, just come and ask me. I'd be happy to tell you about it. But we've talked about it here because we are a welcoming congregation here, and we've shown movies, and especially Allison has made sure that we have been updated on the history of the Pride movement. So Pride, why do we need a Pride celebration? Well, how many of you have ever done something that wasn't part of your culture? You weren't taught to be that way. You didn't like to wear white gloves at Easter. You didn't like to wear white shoes. You really don't enjoy wearing dresses, or you do. You want to wear the wrong thing at the wrong time. How many people have done something that they got talked to about? Okay. Are you a little ashamed, but it was just too hard for you to do it, right? It just wasn't you. And you want to be authentic too. But authenticity is not a value in capitalism. It's not. And authenticity is a value of Unitarian Universalism. That's why a lot of us are here. Because we believe in being ourselves. As Lady Gaga says, we were born this way. It's more complicated than we are taught, right? You don't spend a whole lot of time. We've been watching Atlas in the Heart by Brene Brown. Have y'all watched that? It's online if you want to watch it. What was it on? HBO Max or? Yeah. Brene Brown, she's Houston, she's a good Texas researcher. She's done a lot of research. You can watch her TED Talks. She does a lot of work about emotions, vulnerability, shame, those things. And they do it the right way. They interview everybody and ask them, 7,000 people, and then they compile it, and then they educate people on what they find out, okay? So one of the things that she's been working on that's really interesting to me is that she's trying to get people to talk about emotions and be able to identify their emotions, hard ones, not just, well, I think she said that there's three that people always know. They know pissed off, they know sad, they know joy. But do you know what bittersweet feels like? Or anguish? Okay. So, a lot of work is being done on gender, on sexual orientation. And these are not necessarily the same thing, right? We have been brought up to believe in a binary system where you are identified by the doctor when you were born or the midwife, and they say, oh, this is a boy, this is a girl, and then they put you in the correct color, and then you go out for there, okay? But a lot of us, I'm a she, they, a lot of us had trouble with that our whole life. You know, I would see the other girls and I would be like, yeah, I know I'm a girl, I'm proud of being a girl, but I'm not like the other girls.
So what I want you to do this morning is I just want you to consider the possibility that you might still have some things to figure out about yourself. Because your ability to blend in and accept what happened to you in your life when your parents told you you should act this way and you were able to do it, there are those of us who couldn't do it. And so we are forced outside. Pride is about being proud of who you are, even though you were internally socialized, just like everybody else in this room, and you were taught that how you feel is not correct. So you feel kind of ashamed. And pride was an active way of saying, wait a minute, God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right way, baby. I was born this way. All right? So, what's great going on right now, especially in the younger generation? 8%, and according to the census, 8% of us are outside of the heteronormative binary. Okay? 8%. In Texas, we are the second largest state for people who are LGBTQIA 2S. So, does everybody know what that means? Do you want me to tell you? You're going to be able to ask me. I've got a bunch of terms for you in case you haven't heard it so that you can be more up to date. But the youngest generation right now that are coming of age right now, twice as many people who are outside the binary. They're much more aware of the possibilities. And so we're talking 20% of the youngest generation are outside of that binary in some aspect. So we're talking about a lot of different things today, and I'll give you an idea. Let me just give you some of these terms and see if you know what they mean. Okay, so what's a gynosexual? Anybody know? Okay, you're attracted to women. Doesn't matter what gender you are. You're just a gynosexual. If you're aromantic, what does that mean? Have you ever heard any of these things? I'm going to throw a bunch of them at you, and then you can ask me for which ones you want to know. Phrasexual. It's where you don't need an emotional connection to be attracted to someone. What is that? It means you don't need asexual. What is it? Phrasexual. It's the opposite of demisexual. I realized not too long ago watching a show that I was demisexual, which means I need to be friends with a person that I'm going to bed with. I need to have an emotional connection. But not everybody does, and so the opposite of that is called presexual. People are fighting about these terms all the time, because sometimes it's kind of like, what's it like? A lot of Native American tribal names, the name that the Anglos call them, is the name that their enemy said was their name. Like Lakota is the name, means the people, if you're Lakota or Sioux. And Sioux means the enemy because it was a Paiute guy that said, oh, these people are the Sioux, my enemy. Okay? So a lot of these terms were defined by people, police or psychiatrists, and they don't necessarily reflect how the people feel about themselves. I think it's real interesting. Are y'all bored? Okay. So, there's lots of ways to say, hey, I want to sleep with women, for example. Lesbian is a good way. Used to be you could say gay and it meant that as well. So some people, older people, may use gay for that terminology, but you can also say FSF, so female sexually attracted to females, or if you're attracted to everyone, you're a pansexual. You know, if you don't act on it, there's a word for that too. Asexual. Doesn't mean you don't have crushes on people. Just means you're probably not going to actually get in bed with them. Usually gay now means men to men, attraction and activity. Let's see what else would be interesting. Y'all know what androgynous means, right? So you have your romantic orientation, like the people that you're attracted to, But maybe your socialization is so good that you don't ever act on it in your life. I suspect that some of the people in the room who are living what they call cisgender, heteronormative life, you probably had attractions or other things that you suppressed because it was more trouble than it was worth, right? But I want to encourage you to, explore some terminology and see if you can get more clear about who you are. Because you're going to make the connections with other people if you know how you really feel. You don't ever have to share any of this information with anyone else, but it's good to know what you're about. I want to tell you that in the lesbian community that I was raised in, people had trouble with me there, and they would go, "Come on, Kiya, you're either femme or butch, which one?" I go, "I'm neither." They said, "Okay, we got the question for you. The question is, do you want to be Katie Lang or sleep with Katie Lang?" I go, "I want to open for Katie Lang." Or they would say, "You're passing as a straight person, Kiya, because you have long hair." I don't anymore, but I did for most of my life. And I would go, "I came out in Kentucky in the 70s. How dare you? You have no right to touch me." So I'm just telling you that it's not just something that heteronormal people do to marginalized people. Everybody does it to everybody. Right now there's a big war going on my Facebook page between some of the people that I'm Facebook friends with about they're basically attacking trans people. These are lesbians who are attacking trans people on my page, which I'm real unhappy about. But truthfully, I had to write my sermon for y'all, so I couldn't write them ahead of time. So if you're attracted to everybody, whether you act on it or not, you're omnisexual, which is a nice term. There's polysexual, that you're attracted to more than one, but not all. So say you're interested in non-binary people and the opposite sex, then you are polysexual. You have more than more than one attraction. And everybody knows what queer means. It started out being a negative thing. People would say, "Oh, she's really queer." Now it means that you break the norms. So you could be a hetero person who was identified as queer because you were breaking the rules, whatever the rules that you assume. So you transgress cultural norms, difference or diversity. If you're a guy and you wear a skirt because you like them, but your partner is a woman, you're queer. So it's a nice wide word. What I'm proud of, the most proud thing about Pride, is that we're constantly expanding the terminology to include as many people as possible. So those of y'all who feel slightly weird about going to a Pride thing and getting dressed up or celebrating, not just because you're an ally, but you're included in the conversation. As far as I'm concerned, I want to have connections with as many human beings as I can. And what takes to have communication, as Brene Brown says, are a couple of things, and I've got that for you as well. I want to get this right. I'm sorry I have to read, but I have to read. Really, I've got 3 pages of just terminology and definitions. So, anybody has... you all know that you have cisgender privilege if you are whatever they said you were assigned when you were born, and you've lived your life that way. That's a privilege, because nobody's going to give you grief, right? They're not going to pull you over because you were dressed wrong, There's cisgender privilege, there's hetero privilege as well. But hopefully we can expand that in the world. Anything that's not trans. Trans is the most attacked group of this somewhere. So, yeah, well, just let me tell you what I think about it. It's like, okay, in order to have real connection with people, you want to actually listen to them. You want to actually believe them when they say, I feel like I'm a guy inside, if I felt that way. I feel like the definition of femininity is too narrow for me. So I'm a she, they. So I'm non-binary in that I recognize that I have a lot of aspects of myself that are masculine identified. But I'm not sure what gender means. And I'm not sure that the definition of being a woman is wide enough to include me. And I'm certainly sure, in my case, that I don't want to be transitioned to being male. But I recognize I have a lot of aspects of my personality. And I like being gender fluid. Y'all know what that means? So I like being able to switch back and forth and change my mind. You know, occasionally I'll put a dress on. I'm more likely to put a suit on. One, because clothes, the way they're made and the way my body is shaped, I look better in mine. You know? So everybody has to work all that stuff out yourself. I'm just saying, take a risk and ask yourself those questions. And so by doing that, you're building connection. So if you're like, I tell you, I feel like I'm somewhere in between the two genders and that there's not a place for me. You can go, oh, how bad for you, and take, like, literally put some space between me and you. Or you can go, and try to think of something where you have empathy for that situation. Then we can have a relationship. Then we're building a relationship. Because I just was vulnerable with you and I told you something that's pretty private, really. And you can be like, oh, yeah, we have a gay minister over there at the UU church. And put me over here like in a box. Or you can have a relationship with me when you talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this is true in all these situations, even with people who are politically out of their minds. No, you try to find a way to stay in a conversation with them and listen to them and try to have empathy. Everybody knows what empathy means. That's what we want. We want empathy and connection. And we want to stay in connection. So like right now, the war going on my Facebook page, do I want to erase those people's comments that are anti-trans? Yeah, my first inclination is to just take them down. But watching the conversation is going on. There's like 10 people. If you're not my Facebook friend, become my Facebook friend if you can see the whole conversation. But there's like 10 people now just going back and forth at each other. And a lot of judgment going on back and forth about, well, you're not a good ally, or you are this, or you are that, and you don't really understand, or whatever. They're making judgments instead of being in conversation and really listening to each other. Because I don't know about you, but my thoughts about it have changed over time as I've got to know actual people who are trans, who had surgeries and transitions. And, you know, I've got my opinions, but the first rule is you listen to people and believe them when they tell you their experience. Even if you don't understand it, you have to stay in the conversation at least far enough that you go, wow, I never felt like that, but I hear that you feel that way, tell me more, which is a great thing that my wife taught me to say that sentence, tell me more. It's really handy, useful sentence. So does anybody have any questions about any of this terminology? If you searched, what did I search to find my great list? There's a great list online. If you write me, I'll send you the list if you're interested. But there's also a great, what do they call, infographic called the Pride Unicorn. And it goes through all the questions because you've got your sexual identity, your romantic identity, your gender identity, and it can be something that shifts. So how many genders are there? How many genders should there be? Yeah, it's a rainbow. which is, you know, there's a lot of beautiful things about pride. Yes, baby.
Can you explain the 2S part?
Yeah, two-spirit. Yeah, it comes from Native American culture where they recognize more than two genders from history back, okay? And so there were people who were born that had certain kind of dreams, and that in Native culture, traditionally, how you dream is respected. So if you were a man and you dreamed that you married another man, they would honor that. And they would say perhaps that you were two-spirited. If you felt you were male and female, you had two spirits. So that's what the 2S stands for. There's, you know, intersexual would be somebody who was literally born with more than one sexual characteristic. They're XX and XY, you know, genetically, it might be XXX or XXY. And, or they might have different genitalia than how the rest of their body. They call that intersex now instead of hermaphrodite. Yeah. Anybody have any other questions about that kind of stuff? Yeah.
Do you have a statistic on how many intersex births there are?
I do not have that, but we can look it up. Google it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so you're in Texas, 4.1% of the population identifies out. They're out. You know what I mean? There's way more than that. One of the reasons that the younger people who are much more comfortable with these concepts and ideas have doubled the number of people who are identifying outside the box. They're 20%. You're under 30, 20%. 10% now of people in their 40s. It goes to 8% in the 60s to 80s, and then even a little bit smaller upper because it's how you're raised and whatever. But the general idea is that 10% of the population is not gender normative, is not sexually, their orientation is wider. They might have a wider perspective. And if you're like me and it's about the relationship, then it matters who the person is more than it does what kind of genitalia they have. For me, that's how I am. And I don't presume to talk for all gay people. That is a terrible burden. Don't ask me to do that. So, anybody else got any questions? All right. So here's this incredible list of all these terms, and I highly recommend. Here's some Brene Brown just to get on it. Everybody wants to belong. Nobody wants to feel lonely. Everybody needs. We're social animals, right? We want to be connected. I want to be connected. I don't want to just be the minister by myself in a little box, right? I want to be, that's why I'm here. I want to be with you. And I don't know what I'm going to think 5 years from now. So I want you to be in relationship with me so we can find out what we all think and we can change our minds, okay? Belonging. We have to belong to ourselves as much as we need to belong to others. Any belonging that asks us to betray ourselves is not true belonging. So authenticity is really, really important. And exploring this stuff, and if it scares you a little, then it's probably something you should work on. If it scares you, that's a sign from God, as far as I'm concerned, that's something that you should approach. Or if you feel jealous about somebody, that's often a sign that, oh, they have something, it's not them that you're jealous of, it's something that they have that you want. Use it like a map. I'm quoting Julia Cameron right now. Okay, so trust is earned in the smallest of moments. It is earned not through heroic deeds or even highly visible actions, but through paying attention, listening, and gestures of genuine care and connection. Try to listen to people, try not to fix it. Try to stand with them. If they're in pain, Just look them in the eye, because you're gonna be in pain one day too, and just be with them. Highly recommend the Brene Brown, Atlas of the Heart. It's a book, or you can watch, there's like 5 series where she's talking with people and showing movies, clips, and it's good. I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from their relationship. So y'all, it's your opportunity. Pride is a great opportunity to make those kind of connections, help people be seen and feel heard. And thank you for listening. So, we're going to sing number 170 in the Great Hymnal. We are a gentle, angry people. Holly Neer, who is a bisexual, she's an activist and has been doing the work, starting as an anti-war activist. She was an actress originally. And she wrote this song when Harvey Milk was assassinated. When Dan White went into San Francisco, he killed the mayor, Moscone, and he killed Harvey, who was the first truly out politician, where everybody knew, and he really worked hard, and we owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude. And they gave Dan White 7-year sentence for murdering those 2 people. They said he ate too many Twinkies because he was a former cop. And so he only got 7 years, and San Francisco's gay community and lesbian community freaked out. And they started flipping cars. I was there. They started flipping police cars, setting them on fire. And they had a big gathering in the street, and Holly Neer sang this song. So that's where this song comes from. And it's the lyrics change. So when we get to "We are gay and straight together," just say we are all in this together. So we include everyone. Got it?
Oh, okay. I guess I have time.
Yeah, I can't read and play guitar.
We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives.
We are all in this together.
We are all in this together, and we are singing for our lives. We are all in singing, singing for our lives.
Last chance.
We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
Now please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Try it. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Thank you all so much for coming to the service. There is another Pride event this evening, I think this evening. And we don't stick around for the dance party, but we have a postlude for you. Darby's going to sing you a song and go in peace after that.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M. Just put your paws up, because you were born this way, baby. My mama told me when I was young, we are all born superstars. Rolled my hair and put my lipstick on, in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your hand, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say, I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. You were just like yourself and you said, I'm on the
happy you are. And Allison, what's the event